Now, I find this to be absolutely fascinating because apparently Dragon Age is going to have nudity, which is not surprising for a mature game, although it is a little bit surprising that it gets to be placed on Sony. But the interesting thing is that the journalists and the doctors and engineers of our society that freak out the moment you have any type of beautiful female character in a game, they're promoting, and yet again they're cherishing the fact that Dragon Age is going to have nudity. And the question is why? Because it's kind of like the same people that were attacking Stellar Blade for having a sexy female character, and at the same time they're promoting Dragon Age. And the answer for this is that Dragon Age is queer when it comes to sexuality, just like you had with Baldur's Gate, right? It's not very heteronormative. The characters aren't that appealing. Basically, imagine how they would react if you were to have Stellar Blade with nudity. Like they would freak out. They would implode. They would even write petitions probably to Visa and MasterCard to stop doing business with Sony. They would call it pornography. But when other video games that are queer-oriented, like Dragon Age or Baldur's Gate has that, they're actually cheering it. And you gotta understand as to why that is. See, like, when I was younger, I just didn't get it. But as you grow older, you finally realize that some women as well are one of the biggest gooners on the planet. And in order to find this out, you gotta go to the spaces that women frequent, like the forums of Twilight or True Blood or 50 Shades of Grey or Undertale, right? Like this type of stuff that women like. And you will notice that a woman can goon over a skeleton. Like, I'm not even making it up. Like, it's just like bizarre and weird. But it's like what women do, right? Because they focus more not on the aspect, not on the physical aspect of the character, but they focus more on the personality. And they're also more likely to be with the hookup culture. Like, that is why Baldur's Gate is not romance-oriented. That is why it's not oriented to getting together and starting a family. But instead, it's oriented with hookups, right? Now, if you compare Baldur's Gate 3 with Baldur's Gate 2, you will notice a world of difference in the way they handle romance and the way they handle character interactions. But again, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is primarily designed to cater to the middle-aged women that happen to be working at Kotaku, like the video game journalists, and also to the cult of allies. So this is why when you play Baldur's Gate 3, you got all the characters pansexual, like, just straight people are completely erased from the story, and they're doing it the same with Dragon Age, and then you have, like, all of a sudden, this muscular man coming to you and is like, boyo, I wanna feel your man pussy in the forest. And I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, I'm straight. Nature doesn't care, boyo. Press yes for consent. I already made this joke, but I think it's a great joke, so I'll do it again. But that's pretty much like Baldur's Gate, right? Like, that is the romance that you get in Baldur's Gate. You got, like, the NPCs just sexually harassing you all the time. Making jokes as if you're comfortable all the time. And people justify, well, you know, according to the script, I mean, he's a druid. He's part of nature. Like, of course he's going to behave like that. Oh, well, she's part of this weird alien race and she's got no concept of romance. Of course she's going to behave like that. You know, like, just cope after cope. And the reality is, like, if they were to have, like, an anime game where you have, like, the waifus behaving like that, they would freak out because they don't like heteronormativity. And the reason they do not like heteronormativity is because, again, like, they are middle-aged women and they feel threatened by it. It's simple as, like, they can't live and let live. They can't be tolerant and be like, you know, I get to have my romance. Like, I get the vampire in Baldur's Gate 3 that's shirtless and a little bit more feminine oriented, and I get to have that, and he's broken, and I can be the waifu that fixes him. But it would be fine if someone else has the night elf lady with big fat titties, and she's like a fantasy character for someone else. They don't want that, right? Like, no, they just want their fantasy. And the way they're behaving about it is so disgusting, because their goonerism is promoted. But when you act like just like a healthy, normal man, and, you know, like, you don't want pornography in your video game. Like it's fine if it's just like some softcore thing. It's fine if you just get to roleplay a romance in the game like we used to in Neverwinter Nights, like we used to in Mass Effect, and you want just the Tali Zora, right? Like, Tali Zora wasn't pornographic or anything. It was just that there were like softcore scenes, and it was a very wholesome romance that you got to do with her, and you can't have that anymore. Because these people are going to try to shame you into submission. Oh, you're a gooner. Oh, go touch grass. Oh, go speak with real women. While I enjoy sitting at home playing with this vampire. So that's why like a lot of people are being upset about it. And that's why like a lot of people are noticing, because it's a humiliation ritual. Like you gotta like this. You know, you gotta like this. If you want fan service in your Western games, you gotta transition. You gotta be part of the cult of allies. You gotta like what they like. And then they consider you a doctor or engineer adjacent. But if you don't like what they like, then you're a disgusting Khmer, you need to go watch porn, you know? So this is what's happening. And, yeah, I mean, I'm not against the fact that Dragon Age has nudity in it. I think it's a little bit excessive. Like, again, the focus is on the penis lately. I noticed, like, they're very proud of this thing. I don't know why. Like, do women even like that? But they were proud with Cyberpunk, right? Like they added like penis slider. They added it in Baldur's Gate 3, where again you could choose between different shapes and sizes. Now they're adding it in Dragon Age. The only thing they will never add is a breast slider, right? So again, like their stuff is to be cherished. It is to be promoted. It is to be worshipped. Your stuff is just disgusting, horrible, and you get to notice that it is spread on gender lines. Like middle-aged women get to have their stuff. Now, again, like the thing with the penis, very bizarre. Like I don't know if women just genuinely like just having like a penis slider in a game so that you can adjust it. Especially in a game that's a first-person shooter, like you don't even get to see it. But they promote that while at the same time, the same company, CD Projekt Red, is saying, oh, yeah, like those sexy collectible cards that used to be in Witcher 1, and they weren't just lewds, right? Like, they were kind of lewd, but they were fun, and some of them even had, like, censored versions, so, yeah, we're removing that. We're removing that from the game, but penis sliders, they go in, right? So, my problem with it, and I want people to understand, like, I'm fine if you pick something and stick with it. Like, if you don't want any type of sexuality in the game, that's fine. You know, like I understand where you're coming from. You know, you're with Jesus at the church, and you're fine with games that are psychotic level of violence in it, that have like blood and gore flying all over the screen, but you draw a line at the cleavage. Okay, fine. You know, I understand. Or if you're, okay, this is a game M for mature, and as long as it's not actually explicit, everything goes. So, like, you allow the cleavage, you allow the big-breasted waifu, you allow all of that, because you're a liberal and you believe, okay, this is a product for adults, so we can make something that adults can enjoy. But what they want instead is like, no, we're actually going to only cater to the LGBT group and middle-aged women, and we're going to make absolutely sure that a man cannot find anything pleasant in the game, and if the men complain, we're going to shame them and ridicule them and do all of that. And this is what I have a problem with, because you notice the underlying thing is just being awful people, right? Like just being cheeky little shits for the sake of that. Because you know that if you make all the female characters with manly jawlines, men are going to say, well, what the hell is this? And when they ask what the hell is this, it's like, oh, then go watch porn if you don't like it. This is how women look like. Don't you know that this is how real women look like? Go into California and you can see. And people are just noticing this argument. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.